It's simple, really. Great stories with a good cup of tea. It's the Tea with Mike show. On this episode of the show, David Oulton stops by. So come learn all about TV, film, and real estate. And with David also being from England, we have a nice conversation about tea. So grab your cup of tea, sit back, and enjoy. Hi guys, welcome to Tea with Mike, and joining me for this one is David. Welcome to Tea with Mike, David.
Hi.
All right, and so it's always nice to have a fellow Englishman on the show, because if I've done my math correctly, you're only the second Englishman that I've had on the show, so that's exciting for me.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we're just going to jump right in, and do you want to start by telling everyone a little bit about you?
Sure. So I was born in Chester, England, which is about 45 minutes outside of Manchester. Lived there till I was 5, then moved to Canada. I grew up in Fort McMurray, graduated high school from Fort Mac, and then I've lived in LA, Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary, bounced around a little bit. So yeah, and now here I am.
Awesome. And so it sounds like you've done a little bit of traveling through multiple locations.
Mm-hmm.
Which location have you enjoyed the most?
My favorite place I've ever been is Dubai. I absolutely love the Middle East. I love the United Arab Emirates. Everything about it. It's, I think there's a lot of misconceptions over here about the UAE. It's nothing like I expected. I don't think I've ever felt safer, just in terms of societal wise. It's just a melting pot of cultures and languages, and there's so much you can learn, and everyone was so nice. And so Dubai and all of the UAE, hands down my favorite place I have ever been.
Awesome. And then, so where did you kind of discover your love for traveling? Are your parents big travelers?
Sort of. I mean, like, we go away every year for Christmas. We don't do Christmas or any of the holidays really in the traditional sense at home. We always find a location and meet there. But I just get bored so easily, and I like to always be moving and doing something. So if I'm not working and I'm not, I have a real estate business, I have obviously film, television, my show, all of this stuff. And if I'm not doing any of those things and I'm just sitting around, then it's the perfect opportunity to travel. So.
So that sounds like you always like to stay active and not be sitting at home with nothing to do. Very cool. And so let's just go back a little bit. And obviously, I know this because of the bio that you sent me. So Dame Judi Dench recommended that you entered the entertainment industry. So can you tell people in a few lines kind of how you guys met?
Sure. So we were in maybe 12 or 13 years ago. I was with my uncle in England, in York, and we were touring a cathedral called York Minster. And she just happened to be in line behind us, ironically, just, doing the same thing, standing in line, doing the tour. And we just struck up a conversation, and I said that, I want to, I would love to do acting and get into film. And I had done a couple school plays and had zero experience. I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. And she recommended a place to go in the States to study. And so I applied and got in. And then about a year later, after we'd met, I emailed her through her agency just to say thank you for the advice, and that I got in and it was amazing, all of this stuff. And the next day she replied back, so it was really amazing. And then we've kept in casual contact over the years, so she's always very anytime I've done something that I've told her about, or she's heard about or whatever, she's been very supportive, and just lovely lady. So yeah.
That's a really incredible story, both of circumstance and then also like chance at the same time, because you didn't know that she was obviously quotes going to be behind you in the line, but you kind of you created your own opportunity,
Right.
and then followed that up with networking. So then, how important is creating your own opportunities and networking?
I think it's, that there's a saying that says, it's who you know, not what you know. And I think that is so, so true. You can go to all the business schools, all the film schools. You can be the most educated person on the planet and have, the theory down to a science. But I think that if you don't know the right people and you're not a personable person and you can't engage and reach out and make things happen for yourself, you're not going to get very far. So I 100%, I think networking and getting to know the right people and just not being afraid. If you want to reach out to, if there's anyone that you admire and you want to work with, or you want to get advice from or anything, just reach out to them. And in my experience, usually they're more than willing to help. So
awesome. And then so it's quite, if you're thinking about yourself for a second, what would you say your biggest strengths are?
There's not much that intimidates me in the sense of, I'm sure to a lot of people it comes across as cocky, but I'm not afraid to, if I want to do something, I'll try it. I don't think ever sitting and saying, well, that'll never happen, or, oh, that would never, it's a waste of time or whatever. I think my best quality is I'm always willing to try anything. So, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So,
and do you think, like what you just said, do you think that's what Dame Judi Dench, like, she saw that quality in you in that moment? Because obviously she probably talks to hundreds and thousands of people because she's kind of very well known, and you just stuck out because of that human connection that you made.
I think, like, maybe I think the real reason is because I was this, loudmouth Canadian who she probably thought was American at the time, and everybody else is minding their own business and being very prim and proper. And I just walked right up to her and said, "Are you Judi Dench? Can we take a photo?" So I think that was more how I got her attention, just because I had no, I don't know what the word is. I had no problem interrupting her day. So.
Nice. And then, so do you want to talk to and speak to some of the roles that you played in kind of films, and kind of maybe even how you got those opportunities, and if any standout moments and favorite characters and all that sort of thing?
I've had really small, insignificant roles in really big shows, and then really nice, really meaty roles in really small projects. And I mean, I've done, let's see, I have done a time traveler. I've played like an alien person. I've been a high school love interest thing in a little romance movie. I've played a World War I military soldier. That was probably my hardest role ever that I've done, because the dialogue was speaking. He was a British soldier on the front lines of World War I who was fluent in French. So for weeks before we filmed that, I had to not only learn how to do a British accent properly, but also had to learn how to speak French dialogue with a British accent. So that was challenging. I played a kid in the 1800s with this group of rebels and mercenaries in a movie called Guns of Purgatory. That was a lot of fun. That was a really fun movie as well, with my friend Tinsel Corey from the Twilight films. So that was a really fun project to do. What else? Like a spaceship, like on a Star Trek ripoff show. I forget what his name was. He was the communications officer. So like the person that when the aliens will call in on the screen or whatever like that, and then Ray, who's also a friend of mine who played the captain, would turn around and say, "Well, put them on the." I would press the button and answer the phone for the ship. What else? Yeah, like everything, like a whole. I've never been typecast, so yeah, there's a spectrum.
So maybe I already know, but I'll ask anyway. Do you prefer to always take on new and different roles all the time versus quote being typecasted and always staying in the same lane? Or is it better to you?
Yeah, no, I mean a job is a job, so like I'll do almost anything. So I mean, like I'm not gonna be starting an OnlyFans account anytime soon, but I'll like into like film and television. There's not many things I would say no to. A job is a job, and money is money. So. Yeah.
So is that kind of is that the bottom line for you? Like, as long as you're making money, you'll pretty much like do anything within reason.
Yeah, and I think it's the same with real estate. Like people always, not always, but people a lot of times will say, well, what kind of houses do you sell, or where do you do real? And I'm anything. Like why would you limit yourself in any aspect? So.
Gotcha. So you seem quite a creative person, always willing to try new things. So how did real estate come into the picture?
That was always my plan initially.
Oh.
Yeah, like when I lived in Vancouver and I didn't know anybody, and I had moved straight from Fort McMurray, which is the middle of absolute nowhere, to Vancouver, and I was, it was culture shock almost, and I didn't know anybody. So, and I, school hadn't started at the time, and I, there was like a gap between starting university and when I moved there, and I didn't have friends and I didn't know anything or anyone out there. So I would just kill time by going to open houses and looking at these giant McMansions in Vancouver. And I've always had a love of architecture and design and real estate. So a few years ago, when things changed with the government and funding and opportunities dried up, I just thought, well, this seems kind of like the perfect opportunity now to get my license. And now I'm at a point where the two fields I'm heavily involved in both of them, and they both complement each other nicely. So there's never a clash between the two of them. So they both complement each other. So.
Awesome. Can you expand on that answer? Like how do the skills kind of crisscross?
Well, film, it teaches you how to have a conversation and how to not be afraid, but also how to think on your feet and adjust your, acting and adjust your personality. And you can get along with anyone if you know how to tweak your personality and you know how to, bounce off the other person and really quickly adjust to their demeanor and their personality. That serves you well in real estate because you can get along with anybody. And I think that came from film. And in terms of how does real estate benefit the film, I mean, it provides the freedom to be able to stop and pursue a project at any time that I want to do. I'm not tied to a desk 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so I can do whatever I want. So.
Awesome. So as we're kind of discovering, you have multiple interests in TV, film, stage, but you're also a business owner, right? So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say stage. I mean, if there's one thing I hate doing, it's performance of any kind. Okay. So
TV and film.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what made you want to get into kind of the marketing and public relations side?
That was by fluke. That was trying to figure out what I wanted to. When I was in my 3rd year of university, I didn't quite understand really what I wanted to do, and I started taking these marketing classes, and I realized I'm good at this. I can write really well. Drawing on an acting background from growing up with that. Again, I know how to tell a good story, and I know how to draw people in, and how to market. And I think marketing yourself and the fundamentals of marketing anything are the same across the board. And it plays into real estate. So, I mean, real estate draws on that background as well. And I did really well with that marketing and PR. And I still, on the side for a few people, kind of advise and give recommendations for a few things. So
yeah, so it's quite interesting how all the different jigsaw pieces overlap more than people think.
yeah, and I think I would just get, even if I was doing, I don't necessarily have one dream job. I just think I would get bored doing one thing all the time. If I spend, too long on one thing, I know myself, I just get bored with it. I like change. I like every day to be different, moving forward in some regard, every day and building something. So I think if you have time, why not? If you are a realtor and you have a lot of spare time, find something else. If you still have time, find something else. Like, you can always add more. There's no reason why you only have to do one thing in life.
So would you say more generically that you're quite good at adapting and flexibility and learning new things? Because some people would find that difficult, right?
Yeah, I like to always expand. So yeah.
And we almost sort of touched on it, but a little bit more broadly, if you could, what do you love the most about everything you do? If you could draw in on one specific thing.
Probably the freedom. Like I said, I like to travel a lot. And so film, real estate, I don't so much do any marketing work anymore, but film and real estate, I'm my own boss. I'm not accountable to anyone. So if I want to travel, I can up and leave whenever. So I think that's the allure of it. I think ultimately is it provides a freedom. It's not boring work. Either in film, it's different lines, different scene, different people every day. Same with real estate, different houses, different clients, different shit shows every day that you're having to deal with. So I think that, but then also they both provide the freedom that I can do. It gives me flexibility. I'm not tied down anywhere, which I like that feeling. I don't like to feel trapped or stuck ever. So, yeah.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're living a life that so far that some people like always dream about, but they're almost too afraid to take those risks to try something that they might want to do.
Yeah, I think, with anything when you're doing, because I mean, acting or anything in film and real estate, another one of the big crossovers is you are running your own business. No one's giving you a paycheck. No one's getting opportunities for you. It solely rests on you. I mean, yes, in film you have an agent who helps you find work, but an agent takes 15% of your paycheck. So they really should only be doing 15% of the work in my mind. So I think, any kind of self-employment or running your own business in any sense or starting your own project, I really think it's not for the faint of heart, and you need to have really good, time management, really good stress management, and you need to be able to motivate yourself, because I think it is a big change going from, a steady pay. If you make $100,000 a year and every month you get $8,000 or whatever that works out to, there's a comfort level with that. Whereas all of a sudden, it takes away the complacency. Whereas for me, though, if I knew how much I was going to make every year, what I was going to do every year, what my job description would be for the rest of that, to me, is my idea of hell. So,
gotcha. So another point that stems off that is kind of being accountable to yourself.
No one's going to do it if you're not going to do it for, like, no one else is going to care about your well-being as much as you're going to care about it yourself. So yeah. And I think if you can apply yourself and you can figure out, and going back to what we touched on earlier, not being afraid to find people that you want to look up to and get mentorship from and get, advice and work with. Don't be afraid to take the leap. You just have to be smart about it.
Awesome. Then, so as a fellow Englishman, I'm really curious to know, what's your favorite type of tea?
Earl Grey tea. Always Earl Grey tea with a little bit of milk and a little bit of sugar. Yeah, I'm not very adventurous. So. I actually have, I get sent over from England a lot of my snacks. I'm actually, while we're doing this,
love it.
I'm actually snacking on Quavis while we're doing it.
I love Quavis, like Walker's crisps, a nice pot pie.
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes like living in Canada, like yourself. That's something that I sometimes miss is some of those home comfort foods.
Yeah, it's do you go back very often? I go back all the time. I love it over there.
I'm hoping to go back in the next like couple of years, but obviously the pandemic threw it in a loop.
Yeah.
I haven't been back in a while.
Okay. When did you move?
This is year 8 in Canada. So
And
it's
how
been
old
a
are
few
you?
years. 24.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome. So the tea fact for the episode is the average person in Britain drinks nearly 1,000 cups of tea a year, and 15,000 cups of tea are drunk every second across the world. And that comes from maryclaire.co.uk. So I thought I'd have a really British fact, seeing as we're both from England.
Yeah, so that means the average person drinks 3 cups of tea a day almost. I could believe that.
Which makes me really bad because I probably drink like 6 to 8 cups a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always the same or different every time?
Like always the same. Like Yorkshire tea. Ever had Yorkshire tea?
I have. It's delicious.
And this is funny too because my least favorite type of tea is Earl Grey.
It's my
I don't know. I just don't like the taste. It's like
either Earl Grey or I had a friend in Vancouver who she was very, I think it was English breakfast or royal breakfast, something like that. But then I forget what she would put in it. But anyway, it made the most delicious tea. And I need to, when I go back out there in a couple of weeks here, I'm hoping that she'll make me one of her cups of tea. So,
how many cups of tea would you say you drink a day on average?
1 in the afternoon, usually a coffee, like a pre-workout thing, first thing in the morning, and then after that's done, I have a coffee while I walk the dog, and then usually around mid-afternoon I'll have a cup of tea.
Nice. So then I'm curious to know how you're going to respond to this question based on the fact that you like flexibility, you like doing your own thing. So then how has the pandemic affected what you do?
Ooh, so I have to be careful how I answer this because the pandemic, for as much pain and hurt and, economically, as much brutality as COVID-19 has caused, for lack of a better word, I think that it was a really good opportunity. On the flip side, everybody was forced to sit at home, and you had no choice but to take a step back and really think, what do you want to do? What's important? What do you want to focus on? And I think there's going to be 2 groups of people that come out of the pandemic: the people that sat on their ass and did nothing for 2 or 3 months, and the people that made something out of it. And so for me, and I know it's unfortunate, it's going to be annoying. I can't give you very many details at all. But for me, COVID created the perfect storm for a new show that I did. So I got a new project out of it, which has kept me really busy.
It's good, man.
And then, so it comes out in July, I think.
Oh, I look forward to knowing what it is in July.
I know, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. It's just I'm not allowed to say anything until like the end of June.
I used to do, not professionally, but I used to do a little bit of acting, so I have an understanding about the audiovisual and the entertainment industry and contracts and writers and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it does suck because I like to travel. I missed quite a few trips. Usually this time of year is when I do a lot of my traveling, and so I missed quite a few trips. Thankfully, just a couple of days before we went into lockdown, I was in Mexico, fortunately. So I got some traveling done before. I was in Mexico twice.
Oh, nice.
Year before, once in January, once in February. And then COVID hit. And then, so I mean, like I said, it's kind of deal with the cards you're handed, and I think make something out of it, right? Like I work with a lady named Emma who, she's a realtor. She owns the company, but she also has a clothing line. And same thing, like we'll go for our social distancing walk all throughout this, and every week she's listing off all the new products that she has coming, all the new ideas she has, and we've both said many times, this almost has, for people that are self-employed or self-motivated, for as horrible as it is, it's provided the opportunity to really focus and expand with no distractions. So
also true, I would agree with like everything that you just said. Like, for example, for the Tea with Mike show, it's been a great time because it's actually more relevant than ever, conversation and storytelling. And the reach on Facebook, because people have been sitting at home, has been like quite incredible.
Exactly.
So made the most of the circumstances that you handed. So 100%. So as much as you can speak to it, what are some things in the pipeline over the next few months or even the next year?
Obviously I hope the real estate company that's taken such a hit, which is fortunate. So I'm hoping that bounces back. And then my new show, we just wrapped the first season, and so we had to do it it was weird, it changed the dynamic of filming in terms of how close you can be. So Jill, who was doing makeup before every scene, she had to have a face mask on and be at arm's length, and then for a lot of it was showing me how to do it herself. It just changed the whole dynamic, and it really showed you just a different way of doing it. So I mean, season 1, we filmed the entire first season during COVID.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, because you posted on your Instagram like teasers, almost like pictures, right?
I did, yeah. So it was interesting. So I mean, I hope that goes somewhere, and I'm excited to see what comes with that. And then I really don't know. I mean, things are it's so hard to make plans and to make it's so hard to who knows what's going to happen. I mean, you've got COVID, you've got protests, but then also with the protests, you've got rioting and looting, and there's just so much uncertainty right now. It's very hard to make big plans.
Yeah.
So, I really don't know. I'm going to Toronto possibly this week. So by the time this airs, I will have gone to Toronto and come back, I think, for one night. And then next month, I'm going to Vancouver for a few days. But outside of that, it's impossible to plan. I really don't know. I have no idea.
Awesome. And then to kind of wrap up our conversation today, is there anything you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, I mean, what's your plan then for the show? Why, I see a lot of what you put out and a lot of how driven you are to grow this and all of that stuff. So why did you start the show, and where do you see Tea with Mike going?
Sure. So and the short spin is I started the show because digital and technology is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen through when I've been working in a variety of settings, people have lost the ability to have a conversation without being distracted by their digital device. So in a nutshell, that's why I started the show.
Right.
And where I want to take Tea with Mike is I want it to be seen all the way around the world and grow into this humongous community full of storytellers and diversity and culture, because that's some of my favorite things in life is the theater and the entertainment and culture and all of that sort of thing. And then ultimately it would be super cool to open a tea shop, but the rule of the tea shop is it's an expectation that when you go in, it's very limited on your device, and it's almost a rule that you have to, it'll be set up so you have to talk to other people and network, and then through all of that, people will be able to create their own opportunities, almost like you did at York Minster when you started speaking to Dame Judi Dench. Yeah. Awesome.
Do you edit this at all, or do you just air it as it was done?
No, I edit a tiny bit. I don't spend hours on the editing.
Right. I was just gonna say, I thought for certain because you used the photo of me and Obama, I was like all ready to tell the story about meeting him. I thought for sure you were gonna ask about that instead of me.
Yeah. Tell it now. Go.
Okay, one sec.
Wow.
So Emma, who I just talked about. Oh, one sec. Are you leaving? Okay. Are you taking her with you? Okay. Sorry. So Emma, who I mentioned earlier that I work with a lot, she walked into our office in it either was last December, like December 2018 or January of 2019, I can't remember. And she just walked in and said, "Does anybody want to meet Barack Obama?" And I was, yes. And so we got the opportunity to get to pay for it quite a bit. But Emma, one of her friends, myself, my mom, Sue Ann Valentine, another realtor in Calgary, and then one of her friends, I had the opportunity to meet him when he came to Calgary, which was absolutely amazing. So I can tell you he has, in terms of stature on the world stage, and I've met a lot of people and a lot of really big.
It's the Tea with Mike show.